The Odyssey is one of those movies that is much more than just an incredible story. For me, it's almost like an wake up call, especially for people in their 20s who are watching this right now. Because think about the world we are living in. We are living in an age where almost everything is available instantly. If you're hungry, you can order food at your doorstep within a minute. If you want to travel somewhere, you can be there other side of the world within a day. We have access of technology, entertainment, information, opportunities that people from previous generation couldn't even imagine. Many ways, an average person today has access to comforts that would have looked like in a king's lifestyle 100 years ago. And yet, there is something strange happening. Why are so many of us still unhappy? Why are we so consistently detached? Why do we have some many options and yet we have no idea what we are supposed to do with our lives? Why do you keep wasting our time when you know what you should be doing? What is exactly going wrong? And I think the Odyssey movie that gives us some of really interesting answers to us. I recently watched the movie and there are three lessons that really stood out to me. And honestly, I think these are the lessons that almost everyone can relate to. So first, let's quickly understand what is the Odyssey is about. The Trojan War has finally ended. Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, now has a one simple mission: get back to home. He has a kingdom waiting for him. He has his wife Penelope waiting for him. He has his son waiting for him. He has a home where needs to return to. But what should have been relatively short journey turns into something completely different. Instead of reaching home in a month, Odysseus spent around 10 years trying to get back to home. For 10 years, he's moving across the sea, going from one island to another island, facing monsters, fighting battles, losing people, and consistently being pushed further away from the place he wants to reach. And the first lesson comes from one of the most interesting part of his entire journey, the story of Clespo and the Lotus Flower. At one point, Odysseus ends up on an island and meets Calypso. She is not attracting him, she is not threatening him. In fact, she is offering him something much more than dangerous. She is offering him comfort. She gives him lotus flower. And once he consumes it, something happens. He starts forgetting the things. He forgets the suffering he has experienced. He forgets the people he has lost. He forgets the war. He forgets the responsibility waiting for him. He even starts forgetting this, that when the first place why he had started the journey. And suddenly, staying on the island feels perfectly fine for him. He has food, he has a comfort, he has a pleasure. He doesn't have to fight anymore. He does not have any kind of struggle anymore in his life. And that is exactly what makes the lotus flower so powerful. Because the lotus flower isn't really about a plant, it is a symbol. It represents anything that gives you comfort and pleasure to make you forget what you are exactly supposed to be doing. And Odysseus spent years in that comfort, years and years and years. Think that for a second. How many years of your own life could you be losing exactly the same way? Now, obviously, most of us aren't sitting on the island and eating the magical flower, but we have our own versions. For some people, it's endlessly scrolling through the Instagram, YouTube shows, or any other social media. For someone else, it's gaming for hours. For someone else, it's partying on the weekend. For someone else, it's alcohol. For someone else, it's consistently watching movies, show because they don't want to sit alone with the thoughts. And I'm not saying none of these are automatically bad for you or anyone else. The problem begins when they become your escape from your reality. You guys know you have a problem in your life, but instead of solving it, you open your phone. You know you should be working towards something important, but you find a distractions, and you know you are unhappy with your health, with your relationship, your finance, but instead of Comforting it, you find some other solution to forget about it for a few hours. And that is a modern lotus flower for you. And that is the crazy part. The whole entire industry has been built around keeping you distracted. Everything is competing for your attention. Every notification, every short video, every advertisement, every streaming platform, every new product, everything is designed for you to keep you consuming. Because the longer you stay distracted, the less time you spend asking to yourself the uncomfortable questions. What am I doing in my life? Where I am going? What I'm avoiding? What do I exactly want? Odysseus fought the monster during his journey, but perhaps the most dangerous thing he encountered didn't look like a monster at all. It looked like a comfort. It made him feel good. It made him feel safe and made him forget about his past, his journey, all the struggle he has, all the experience he has, all the fights he has fought. So the next time someone feels extremely comfortable, ask to yourself a simple question: is this helping me to recover? Or is this helping me to avoid my life? Because there is a massive difference between resting and escaping. And while too much comfort can keep you stuck, there is another problem that can be just as dangerous, and that is the lesson number two: chasing a life that does not actually exist. This is where the story of the sirens comes in. The sirens are the creatures whose beautiful songs attracts the sailor. They make people forget where they are going. They become so fascinated by what they are hearing that they lose sight of their actual mission. And eventually, the distraction can destroy them. Now, think about that, how similar that is in our modern life. Because today, we have our own version of sirens, and it is the fantasy of the perfect life. Have you thought about it? If I had a better partner, I would finally be happy. If I lived in a different city, my life would be better. If I had more money, I would feel more successful. If I had this, if I had that, if I had this, and there the problem is that your brain keeps moving the finish line every time. And you got one thing, suddenly you need something else. And the social media makes this infinitely worse. Why that happen? Because when you open someone's profile, you are rarely seeing their real life. You are seeing the best 5 seconds of the highlights. You are just seeing the highlight reel, but you are comparing the highlight to your ordinarily Tuesday morning. And that is an incredibly unfair comparison because you are looking at someone's best moment while you are experiencing every single one of your own struggle. And eventually, you start believing that your life isn't good enough. You might have perfect decent life, you might have a people who loves you, you might have a home, you might have a job, you might have a friends, you might have opportunity, you might have your health, but then you open your phone and see someone driving the Lamborghini, and suddenly you start thinking. Then you see someone who is younger than you building in a huge company. Why I am behind? And slowly you start resenting the life that you once considered good. And that is the siren for you. It consistently whispering in your ears, your real happiness is somewhere else. You are not enough yet. You will be better when you have this, and you start chasing imaginary version of the happiness. What is the solution? It's not that you should stop improving yourself. It's not that you stop being ambitious. It's not that you stop wanting more. So the solution is learning how to appreciate what you already have while continue build what you want to next. So what do? Take a piece of paper and seriously write down the things you are in your life grateful for. Your parents, your family, your friends, your home, your education, your job, ability to learn, people who support you, the opportunity you have, every simple thing that normally you don't think about in your life. Because sometimes you don't realize how good your life is until you stop comparing it to someone else. There are people who give almost anything to have some of the things you are currently taking for granted. And yet, modern advertisement social media consistently tell you that you are missing something very important. You need a new car, you need a new house, a better phone, a better body, a better wardrobe, a better vacation, a better lifestyle. And if you consistently listen to that voice, you will spend the entire life believing that you are just an a one purchase away from the happiness. But you are not, believe me. And that brings us to the lesson number three. Because the comfort isn't the entire problem, and chasing a better life is not the entire problem, then what exactly really keeping Odysseus away from home for so many years? Maybe the biggest obstacle was inside him. And I think that is the probably the deepest lesson from the entire story. Sometimes your circumstances aren't what you are keeping you stuck. Sometimes your belief about yourself are. Think about that. You might have opportunities sitting right in front of you, but you don't believe you are capable of taking it and you would not act. You have an incredible idea, but you don't believe that you're capable of building something meaningful. You will never start. You might meet someone genuinely connect with, but you believe you are not worthy of a relationship. You might walk away before it even has a chance. You might deserve a promotion, but some part of you believe you are not good enough and you might never ask for it. And that is a self sabotage. And you know what is the scary part? You often don't realize it, you are doing it. You think you are being realistic, you think you are protecting yourself, you think you are avoiding the disappointment, but sometimes you are simply protecting the identity you have created for yourself. You say, I'm not that kind of person. I could never do such a big thing. People like me don't become successful. I don't have what it takes, and this isn't for me. Once you start believing those statements, your behavior begins to follow them. You stop taking the chances. You stop putting yourself out there. You stop trying. And years later, you look around and wonder why nothing had changed. Maybe the problem wasn't lack of the opportunity. Maybe you never gave yourself a permission to believe you deserve an opportunity. That makes self worth so powerful because you can have the best and perfect circumstances and still you can destroy them if you don't believe you worthy of the outcomes. And I think this happens far more people than we realize. You finally have an idea for a business, you get excited, you start planning, and then a little voice appears. What do you think you are? You cannot build a big company, you don't have enough, someone else is already doing it. So you quit before you even begin. Or you meet someone genuinely like you feel connection. And then you start thinking they're probably too good for me. This won't work. I am going to get hurt. And instead of giving the relationship a one chance, you walk away. Or you get close to an opportunity you wanted for years. But suddenly you are uncomfortable because success itself feels unfamiliar and you start pulling yourself backward. That's why the comfort and comparison are not always the root problem. Sometimes they are just a symptom. The deeper problem is the way you see yourself. And here is the practical part. Think about your own life right now. What is the one decision you have been waiting and thinking for too long? What is the one thing you keep saying to yourself? Maybe if it's asking someone out, or maybe leaving the job, maybe starting your own business, maybe moving to the another city, maybe moving to the another country, maybe it's learning completely a new skill, or maybe it's finally starting the project you have been waiting for many years. Whatever itself, ask to yourself, what exactly is stopping you from doing that? And then you go a one level deeper. Do I genuinely lack the ability? Or do I simply not believe in myself I can do that? Because those are the different problems. If you lack of ability, you can learn. If you lack of experience, you can gain it from. If you lack of the knowledge, you can get the knowledge. You can study, you can learn. But if you don't believe you are worthy of even trying, you can spend your entire life standing at the starting line. And if there is a one idea I want you to remember from this entire video, that is, comfort can make you forget your purpose. Comparison can make you chase a life that does not exist. But the deepest thing that can stop you from becoming the best of yourself is not believing that you are worthy of it. And that's something you have to challenge yourself, because you don't need a permission from anyone in this world to believe in yourself. You don't need anyone around you to agree with your thoughts, your potential. You don't need anyone exactly how everything is going to work out. You just need to take a first step, a first single step towards your goals or whatever your achievements you want to achieve in your life. Think about it. How much can change in 3 years? Think about the person you were 3 years ago. There are probably things you know today and you couldn't even imagine back years ago. There are opportunities you have today that does not exist for you before. And there are the things you could accomplish over the next 3 years that you cannot even imagine right now. But none of that happen if you keep telling yourself you are incapable, you are not worthy of it, you cannot do it. So start changing the story. Tell yourself, maybe I can, maybe I'm capable, maybe I can build something meaningful, maybe I can travel, maybe I can go and work with incredible people, maybe I can learn something difficult, maybe I can become something, become someone I'm proud of. Because when you genuinely start believing that something is possible for you, you begin behaving differently. You take more action, you take more risks, you learn faster, you recover failure faster, you stop wasting your time. There is many things. The positive ways are happening to you. Nothing is automatically reach out to you simply because you haven't achieved it yet. You may not know how to get there today, but that's okay. You don't even know the entire path. You don't know the entire story. You just have to stop convincing yourself that destination isn't meant for you. So remember these three lessons from the movie Odyssey. The number one, do not allow comforts to make you forget the purpose of your life. Do not allow comparison to make you hate the life that you actually appreciate. And more importantly, do not allow your own self doubt to convince you that you are not capable of becoming the person you want to be. Sometimes the biggest battle is not against the world, it is against the version of yourself that keeps telling you you stay small. Or maybe it's time to stop listening that voice. I hope this gives you something to think about it. If you haven't watched the Odyssey movie, go and watch it. There is much more to take away from the movie, from the story, apart from these three lessons. But before you leave, think the one thing: what is the decision you have been postponing because you don't believe you are ready right now? So, guys, this is David Chow. Subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share to your friends and family. I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you when I see you.